All right, music fans, it is I, Dave, the real music observer, observing real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. All right, back in 1980, which is a very long time ago, the Doobie Brothers cleaned up on this date 4 Grammy Awards. By the way, the Doobie Brothers are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They're not, but Bon Jovi is going in. But the Doobie Brothers, a band that started in 1970, and has created American music that is enduring and has been on many formats: rock, pop, adult contemporary, very versatile band that does blues, uh, rock, folky stuff, country stuff. Um, it's in there. It's the band is world music. The Doobie Brothers are all over the map as far as goodness, but yet they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But Bon Jovi's going in. Okay, so it's just I had to say that. You know how I am. I'm stirring the pot because that's what I do. Uh, but back in 1980, I mean, the musical landscape. I mean, if you look back, I mean, you're coming off of like Fleetwood Mac Rumors. You got Damn the Torpedoes out there by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. You're still lurking with Hotel California out there. I mean, this was just a very fertile musical environment, and the Doobie Brothers. It took them a few albums with Michael McDonald to do a complete album where it was listenable and cohesive from start to finish. Although I think Taking It to the Streets is a brilliant album if you go back and listen to that. The deeper tracks on that have so much atmosphere and just so much depth. I mean, even Living on the Fault Line, if you go back and hear it and put some headphones on, you're just going to be amazed. The production values between what Ted Templeman did and what Jeff Skunk Baxter did as a guitar player, as a Steely Dan aficionado, alumni, somebody who injected a little bit of yin and yang. I mean, he did that so much that they booted him because he wasn't getting along with Michael McDonald. And just, Michael's the star of the show. But if you notice, they did one more album with Michael and a different band. I mean, they had the core band, he and Pat Simmons, and but what was it, One Step Closer. And the pressure was huge to try to follow up minute by minute. And looking back, One Step is a great album, but it wasn't minute by minute. And Jeff Skunk Baxter, his guitar playing, his arranging, his insistence upon perfection was missing. And I got to give that guy so many props because he's a Renaissance guy. He's like a defense consultant now, or he has been for quite some time, working on the missile defense program. So you go from guitar player to missile defense, and I've seen the guy do little lectures about music and what these guys were going through at the time. And I'll tell you what, I mean, I think he doesn't get the credit he deserves. He didn't even go up there at the Grammys when they took the 4 Grammys in 1980. He was in the place, but he did not go up on stage. If you see those pictures, Kenny Loggins is up there because he co-wrote "What a Fool Believes." But all of my friends had this album. I had this album. I had a varied musical, selection, and I loved all of this so-called adult. We just believed it was rock. We didn't throw this. We may have said, well, this is a lot harder. We knew that if we went out and bought a Black Sabbath album, that was going to be a little extreme. And we didn't do it. And we had friends that did. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, again, great band and very different style. But the Doobies, the Eagles, Chicago, all of those bands were like quality rock. We're going to go listen to some sophisticated album-oriented stuff. We had a local radio station that played deeper cuts off these albums, and it just got you more into everything because you thought, hey, I'm sophisticated. I can listen to all 10 tracks on this album. I mean, go listen to Steamer Lane Breakdown. It's a bluegrass instrumental in the middle of this thing, and it's fantastic. Sweet Feelin', Pat Simmons tune. How will the Fools survive? just a killer ending track with a nutty skunk solo at the end of it. I mean, all of the stuff that I used to listen to in those days now is so up on a pedestal for me. Whether it's Toto, Doobies, Eagles. In fact, the Doobies album was way more listenable than what was on the Long Run, which came out not too much after that. The Long Run had a bunch of good songs, but it had some duds. Minute by Minute really doesn't have any duds. Just a tremendous album 38 years ago today. It's the Doobies and 4 Grammy Awards, and Jeff Skunk Baxter being the driving force, I believe, and that sort of tension between him and the rest of the band, including Michael McDonald. That's what made it work. There's always creative tension. That's why it works so well on Rumors. There are other albums that you can probably cite that had that kind of tension, but the Doobie Brothers still aren't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Bon Jovi going in, no Doobie Brothers. Just, American band that started in 1970. And I don't know, the Tom Johnson version of the band. I mean, you gotta put Tom and Michael and everybody into the Hall of Fame, because, unfortunately you can't put Keith Knudsen in because he passed, and it's just sad that he's not around anymore. And he was a great drummer. But in any event, I'm done with this video. There's a lot to be said about the Doobie Brothers 1980. The music scene, the Grammys, and how things have just radically changed, and the quality of what was being made back then versus what's being made now. It's just mind-blowing. I've been listening to Minute by Minute all morning because I got that notification, and it brings back a lot of great memories. I was 15 years old, and I had really good taste in music. That's all I can say. All right, that's it. I'm done. I'm Dave. This is the Real Music Observer. I'll be back soon with more real music in real time for real people just like you right there, and just like me. And we'll talk to you then.